This quick guide I'm going to demonstrate an overhead brake, and we're approaching Solonlug airbase at a target altitude of 2000. I'm going to pull up a little bit, and a target speed of 300. And when we're about 3/4 way along the runway, I'm going to do a brake to the left, and this is the important bit is the first turn, because what you got to do is you got to make a very tight turn, otherwise you get too far away from the runway. And you make a tight turn and drop the speed and altitude. So we should be going into the turn at 300, 2000, and coming out at 1500 and between 200 and 250 speed. So I'm there 1900 now. We're heading towards the end of the runway. Okay, that looks like it's good speed. Okay, so into the brake. Snap the throttle back into the brake, 60-degree turn at least, and be very careful that the nose doesn't drop too much. So you can see I'm pitched down. I'm using a bit of rudder in order to centralize the ball, and we're about 2.5 degrees nose down. So I'm pulling quite hard on the stick in order to make sure I make a tight turn, and at the same time I'm watching the HSI needle, and when that's upside down I know I need to turn out, and we're now on the downwind leg. So we're down to 220 and 1300 altitude, which is probably a little bit too low, but it's better to be that way than to be too high and trying to fight it. So I'm going to trim the aircraft now, drop flaps in gear, and now I've got to keep an eye on the position of the runway to the left there, make sure I don't climb too much. And my target speed into this turn now is around 150, and I'm going to trim my nose for, we're now 160, and we're about right now to take that turn. So once again, take the turn, drop the nose a little bit, put a little bit of rudder on, and carefully manage the turn. Remember, I still have throttle on there, and it's throttle to in order to keep the speed up. 144. Okay, we have a good angle of attack here, so I need to be slowing down my turn to come out of that, so we don't want to undershoot. So now I'm pulling back on the throttle and starting to line up, watching the flight path marker and letting it drop onto the end of the runway, and at the same time starting to level out.
Altitude, altitude.
Okay, notice I'm not using any air brakes here. Some people like to use air brakes for this part. Okay, gentle flare. Hold it up and drop it down. Now I can deploy air brakes. So the job is to do a very sharp turn to start with, so you don't get too far away from the runway. Make sure to keep the nose pitched down, maybe 2.5 degrees, 3 degrees. That should bring you down in that turn from 2000 to 1500, and somewhere between 200 and 250 speed from 300. Then you're good if you're on the downwind leg at 1500 altitude or thereabouts, and then it's another tight turn, not nearly as tight as the first turn, into the cross base leg and onto finals. Thanks for watching.